Hi, in this video we are going to talk a little bit about how to work with Kestrel. Kestrel is Quince Company's linen yarn that's a little bit thicker than you might expect it to be. You'll see that we have about 4 stitches to the inch, so it tends to be like an Aran weight, pretty thick. This one is the Aegean colorway. It's this gorgeous bluish green sea color, and I'm going to get ready to knit the Mira pullover. Now, because Quince Kestrel is a linen yarn, it's going to be more slippery than other yarns. So we don't want to make it into a cake when we take it out of the skein. What we're going to do is either put it on your Swift carefully, like this, or find a friend who will hold it for you. So I cut off all the tags and I've got it on my Swift here. And basically I'm just going to wind this into a regular old-fashioned yarn ball. So no cakes, because the cakes will, and the cakes are what you make when you are using a ball winder. In this case, those will collapse on themselves and we will have a big tangled mess before we get much knitting done at all. So we're just going to go and wind this into a little ball. And it's going to be fairly small because these are only 76 yards for a skein, I believe. Now, to connect these, because it's linen, it's not going to felt, it's not going to stay in, and you might get lots of little wavy ends all over the place. So what we want to do is, it's kind of a way to do a cool join with Kestrel because it's sort of a tube if you look at it. So one way you can do it is to lay the 2 pieces on top of each other and just sew it with a needle. But what I'm going to do is kind of a neat trick. So I'm using 2 different colors so you can see what I'm doing. So what we're going to say is the maroon color here is my existing sweater. It's coming off the sweater I'm working on, and then I want to attach this green color for the next section. Not what I'm doing for this project, but just for example here. So I'm going to come in a little ways onto my, leave a long tail off your existing sweater and put the new ball on a needle. So what I'm going to do is, a few inches up, try to get your tapestry needle inside. It's a little fiddly to get started. But you want to get it inside this tube. And once you get it started, it's pretty easy. So we're going to go, like I said, a little fiddly to start. And of course, it's always harder if you're trying to do it on camera. So, but there we go. So I'm weaving my tapestry needle into the tube. And you can do it as long as you want, but a couple inches at least. Pull it out and you're pulling, and I'm doing it with 2 colors so you can see here, otherwise it's a little tricky to see, but you'll figure that out. Okay, so I've pulled my new ball of yarn into the middle of my existing ball of yarn. See how it's like right in there? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the maroon, put that on my tapestry needle, and I'm going to go back the other way. So the one that was on the outside, which is the one that was from my sweater, I'm now going to weave that into the inside of my new strand of yarn. So at the point where you went in, I'm going to flip it around because I can't do this backwards. You want to go into the other one and go a couple inches that way. And pull that one through. And now what you have, here's my new ball of yarn and my old ball of yarn. These are not coming apart. And then you can just trim off these extra little pieces. you have one continuous strand of yarn that is hardly going to be noticeable in your sweater or whatever you're making. So I am pulling pretty hard and that's not going anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is the ball I just wound, and then I put another ball on, or another skein on my Swift. I'm going to do that now. I'm not making my sweater yet, but I'm going to connect these two and make my ball even bigger. And then I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to make one giant ball of Kestrel. So when I'm working through my sweater, I don't have to stop for this. And when I'm at the end, I'm going to have barely any ends to weave in. So this will make it go a lot faster. And as you're prepping your sweaters to get started, I would suggest you do something similar. Thanks. Okay, so I finished winding up 4 skeins. I decided not to wind up all 8 because it was as big as my hand, and I thought it would get tricky to work with. And it also fits perfectly in this quart-size bag, so I can add on more later as I need, but that's enough to get me started.